Hello Team Jesus, I hope you had a God awesome week. Today we're going to focus on one of the great mothers in the Bible, Hannah. I'll read you a story titled Hannah's Promise by Sharla Gunther. So please listen very carefully because there's going to be a quiz at the end of the story. This story is about a woman named Hannah who really wanted to have a child. Every year she would go with her husband to a place called Shiloh. While they were there would be a big festival and everyone would celebrate all that God did for them. They would thank God for the crops and everything God gave them and give sacrifices or presents to God to show how thankful they were. This sometimes made Hannah very sad because she wanted so badly to be thankful but was discouraged because she couldn't have a child. That didn't mean Hannah moped around and felt sorry for herself, but in her heart she was very sad. Her husband still loved her very much and tried to make her feel better, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, Hannah did the only thing she knew that could help the situation. One evening, when they had finished eating and drinking, Hannah went to the temple and began to pray. When Hannah prayed, she was very honest with how she was feeling. She sometimes cried a lot and probably felt like God had forgotten her. But while she was praying, she promised God, "Dear God, if you would only look and see how sad I am and remember me, please give me a son. If you would do that for me, I will dedicate my son to you for his whole life." As Hannah was praying, there was a man named Eli, a priest, who was sitting nearby and saw her. When Hannah was praying, she was praying to herself. Her lips were moving, but Eli couldn't hear her say anything. We can pray just like this if we need to. We can pray to God in our hearts so that no one can hear. Eli realized that Hannah was being very honest and truthful with God, and he said to her, "Go in peace, and may God answer your prayer." After that, Hannah left. She felt much better because she had talked to God about what bothered her. Early the next morning, she even went to worship God before she went home. You see, sometimes God doesn't want to answer our prayers, but we can just be mad forever and not talk or thank God for all the good things He's done for our life. God knows what's best. There's always a good reason why He hasn't answered our prayer. But a while later, a great thing happened. God, of course, remembered Hannah, because God doesn't forget any of us, and gave her a son. She named him Samuel. Hannah had waited so long for this child, and she loved him so much. But she remembered that she made a promise to God. Hannah was an honest woman, and when she made a promise, she meant it. Again, Hannah had a good attitude and wanted to give Samuel back to God. She wasn't mad at herself. Hannah kept her promise. When Samuel was old enough, she went back to the place where she had prayed and said to Eli the priest, "Do you remember me? I am the woman that cried and prayed for this child, and he answered my prayer. Now I give him to the Lord, and I will leave you with him to learn and work with you." So Samuel lived with Eli, and every year Hannah would pack her suitcase and visit him and bring him new clothes. It might have been hard for Hannah to see Samuel only once a year, but she wanted to keep her promise. God blessed Hannah again and gave her a husband and even more sons and daughters. Samuel did very well staying with Eli. Then one night, something unusual happened. Eli and Samuel were both gone to bed and were having a nice sleep when Samuel all of a sudden woke up. Someone was calling him. "Samuel?" Well, Samuel thought it was Eli, so he ran back to his bed and answered, "Here I am. You called me?" But Eli said, "I did not call you. Go back and lie down." So Samuel went back to his bed. He didn't know this, but God was calling him. Just as Samuel got settled, God said, "Samuel." And Samuel jumped up and went back to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called?" Again, Eli answered, "No, I didn't call you. Go back to bed." The Lord called Samuel a third time, and Samuel got up and went to Eli again and said, "Here I am, you called me." Eli couldn't figure out what was going on. He had been thinking who could be calling Samuel. They were the only ones there. Suddenly, Eli realized that there was only one other explanation, so Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if you hear the voice again, say, 'Yes, Lord, I'm listening.'" Sure enough, Samuel went to lie down, and the Lord called again, "Samuel, Samuel." So Samuel quickly replied, "Speak, Lord, I am listening." From then on, Samuel knew when God wanted to talk to him, and he always listened. God blessed Samuel, and he grew up to be a great prophet or spokesperson of the Lord. So Hannah did the right thing when she kept her promise to God. Her son Samuel helped many people to know God better. Now, let's answer some questions together. What did Hannah want? That's right, Hannah wanted a son. Number 2, how was Hannah acting before she was given a son? Hannah was crying and she refused to eat. Number 3, who did she ask for a son? God. Number 4, what did she name her son? Samuel. Number 5, what does the name Samuel mean? The name Samuel means because I asked the Lord for him. What did Hannah promise the Lord if she got a son? She promised to give him to the Lord and have them raised in the temple. Last question. Did Hannah do what she promised? Yes. I hoped you enjoyed the story, and I hope that you'll also keep your promises, just like Hannah. Remember to comment down below. Thank you for watching.